Hey, what's up, guys? I should have taken my own advice, and that is to never, ever, ever bring up any sort of political debate on the channel. And when I mean political debate, I mean arguing that PCs are better than Macs, that Apple is going down this weird road where they're not about professional or creatives anymore. They're about luxury items, accessories, Supreme t-shirts, and whatever you call those hats that everyone's wearing now. The kids, I mean. I still stand behind my sentiment, whether it's valid or not. That's up for you to decide. A lot of people brought up some really interesting ideas in the comments, but I'll leave it at that. But one question or statement still rang true. Didn't ring true, but it got my attention, this statement. And it was basically, why are you still using Firewire, you freaking dinosaur? Firewire's out, why do you still use it? And my idea was, there's, with like the trash can MacBook Pro, you can't install a Firewire card in there. There's no expandability. And a lot of people still use Firewire. I'm gonna explain why I still use Firewire. And it may be 30 years old, or whatever, but it's still super versatile with music, and I'll go through why. I brought some notes this time. So, Firewire doesn't use packets. So how USB works is it'll package up a data kind of box, put all your information in one box, and then it'll send it out, and then the other side it'll receive it, and then another box will be sent, and it'll be sent back. USB uses packets. Firewire uses streams, data streams, like you would think like Ethernet does. No, Ethernet uses packets. Fiber optic uses a data stream. It's just like this crazy data stream. And what that means is that it's less latency, so you're not waiting for that packet to come to you. The stream is being sent as it happens, so you get lower latencies. Data transfer in both directions. I already knew this, and it's really interesting. With Firewire, how I use Firewire is I have 32 channels of audio, 16 in and 16 out. And the Firewire protocol sends data in both directions at the same time, as opposed to USB up until like USB 3. USB was only able to send it in one direction at a time. I think that's called half duplex or whatever. It sends it in both directions, but only one at a time. Firewire is full duplex. So what that means is that it can send and receive the audio at the same time. Your outputs, your inputs, all at the same time. Super useful, as well as MIDI and other syncing things. Because it's a data stream, the sync is more in sync because of the streaming of the data, not the packets. So you can imagine MIDI, things like that, clocks, other things, a lot more versatile, in my opinion. Here's an important one for me. Critical applications of audio still use Firewire because it does not go through a hub, a USB hub. Every USB device goes through a hub internal to your motherboard, and that can cause some interrupts depending on what you're doing. That's a entirely complicated thing, and that causes, a lot of debate online. I encourage you to look at the science of it, or measure the latency of your devices using the latency mon, I believe it's called, or latency checker. It'll tell you what kind of devices are causing problems. They used to be called interrupt requests. They're called the same thing, but they do something different now. Just letting you know, there's no nothing you have to set in the BIOS. Anyway, I'm digressing. Totally, good thing I have notes. It's direct to PCI, right? So it's its own thing in terms of what I use. So my motherboard did not come with a Firewire port. I had to install one, and I installed one using what the manufacturers recommend, a PCI Express Texas Instruments Firewire add-on, and it plops right into a PCIe slot, and works quite well. Never had a problem with it, and yeah, it's just a great way to still use Firewire, even though they're not formally supported in motherboards. You can add them in, and that's exceptionally important. And it's direct to RAM, direct RAM access or whatever. It's more of a tightly integrated thing. It doesn't need to go through another layer that whatever USB controls. I forget what it's called. The layer that USB has to go through. I forget. Anyway. Stable and better latency. So when you have the data stream, you don't need to wait for packets. A Firewire dropout never happens. It's maybe happened once with my current machine, which I've done videos and had for I don't know how long, recording up to, I've never really recorded the full 16 channels, maybe 12 channels. And then like talk back and like all of the stuff going on, plus the sends going to certain effects units in real time through the card. You know, I've had a lot of data being pushed through the Firewire, a lot in terms of audio, and transfer speeds don't really translate well. USB outperforms Firewire now in transfer speeds, but Firewire, in terms of its stability and latency, is still the standard. And you know, I haven't really tried the Thunderbolt cards yet. I'm sure they're great. I just haven't had the need for them. For those wondering, I have a Focusrite Pro 40, and I have Behringer preamp, and what's the other one? PreSonus, I believe. And they work great with ADAT. Using ADAT. Why am I still using ADAT? It's like a million years old. Why are you using ADAT? Well, it's one of those things that still works great for audio, and it's the same with Firewire. I would dread if I had to use a USB sound card with all the channels. Oh my goodness, just with, you know, my webcam and keyboard, mouse and interrupts and stuff like that, it would be a nightmare. It's not something that I'm into. And yeah, I already mentioned better sync. Because of the data stream, you're not waiting for packets, so there's no like MIDI jitter, there's no like clocks you have to set up. It works well. Data stream, very important. Anyway, I read my notes. I didn't really take many, but I was able to kind of explain. Anyway, hope you guys learned stuff. Take care. And you know what? You can still buy Firewire interfaces for some reason. For some reason, you know, 30 years old, dinosaurs use them. But for some reason, you can still buy Firewire interfaces, and they still make them. I wonder why. That might be because they are road tested, battle tested, and they work. And you can record for a million years using one of those things, and right through PCI. Anyway, hope you guys learned stuff. Take care and have a good one.